watching this on NewsX and NewsX YouTube. I'm Rishabh Gulati, and we're having a quick examination of what happens when Pakistan actually goes bankrupt. Is the 0 day, when the khata is khali, when the bank account is actually literally empty, coming our way? Well, here's how the math stacks up. Pakistan currently is sitting, after all the loans it's taken over the past few months, in about $15 billion of foreign exchange reserves, 8 billion of which are with the State Bank of Pakistan, and about 7 billion odd are lying with the Pakistani private sector banks. Now that's $15 billion. The country is currently running a current account deficit, that's the difference between imports minus exports, of just over $12 billion. So you've got $15 billion in the bank. Your annual loss is $12 billion at the current rate. The Pakistanis have high dreams of reducing that annual loss from 12 billion to about 6.5 or 7 billion, which is very, very difficult to do because generally import costs are inelastic. Mostly it's about oil. Remittances can go up by a few percentage. They're not going to go up threefold or fourfold. So it's going to be very difficult to reduce that current account deficit. They can try. They're trying to export donkeys. They're exporting dogs. They're exporting human hair. They've been doing that belly dancing, of course, to attract FDI investment. But it's not happening for very clear reasons. And what are those clear reasons? Why does FDI not want to come into Pakistan? Well, the World Bank has just slapped Pakistan with a $5.3 billion fine in what is being called the Reko Dick scandal. So basically what happened was Pakistan was supposed to get into a mining agreement with two international companies, one of which being a Chilean, the other a Polish firm. Then one of the Pakistani nuclear scientists decided that we don't need the foreigners, we'll renege on the agreements, and he went and said, I'm going to start mining. Now they employed the Pakistani Border Roads organization that makes the borders in the frontier provinces to become a mining company. So people, engineers who were designed to who were put together to make roadways, who had no experience of mining, were asked to become miners. So where Pakistan would have actually received a bounty from copper and gold mining, instead it's become one of the biggest scandals, and the World Bank is now slapped a $5.3 billion fine. Pakistan is now trying to appeal it, and that's not it. There's another scandal, which another has a $700 to $800 million fine called the Karki scandal, in which again Pakistan has been slapped with a huge fine. Pakistan wants to appeal this also. Then from 2020, which is literally months away, from June 2020, Pakistan is going to have to pay a minimum. This is literally the minimum amount you have to pay on a credit card. That's the minimum amount they have to pay on the $30 billion in loans that they've taken from China, from CPEC. The minimum is $400 million for next year, starting 2020. At the same time, the $6 billion IMF loan they have taken needs to start getting repaid. And the $6 odd billion that they've taken in loans from the Chinese, the Saudis and the UAE will have to start getting paid. So if we just do the math, sitting on $15 billion, expect a current account deficit of $11 to $12 billion. That leaves you with $3 or $4 billion. If you have to pay $5 to $6 billion fines on top of that, you're already minus 2 and 3. Once you're minus 2 and 3, then you have to pay $400 million to the Chinese, and countless millions of dollars have to be paid to service the debt of the IMF, the other Chinese sovereign debt, UAE debt, and Saudi debt. You can well imagine that by about September 2020, so roughly 1 year from now, Pakistan will be down to zero. Absolutely no foreign exchange, not a dollar left in the country. Then the only hope is, who is going to bail out Pakistan again? The IMF has bailed out Pakistan 20 times. 20 times already done. The Saudis have bailed them out several times. The Chinese have bailed them out several times. And the UAE has bailed them out several times. So which country or which organization is going to come and bail out Pakistan again? So you're looking September 2020, which is why the Pakistanis are getting so anxious about everything. Because they know that their country, they've only got a few months left before the economy of the country completely fails. Currently, GDP growth, as per IMF expectations, is pegged to in the next year to be around 2.4%, which basically means if you add inflation, Pakistan is already in recession. The interest rates in Pakistan, while in India, for example, we're talking about 6%, 6.5% interest rates, the interest rates in Pakistan as set by the Pakistani central bank are already at 12 and 13% because that's what the IMF has demanded. We are worried about an Indian rupee following. The Pakistani rupee is now $1 for $1 for 160 rupees. It's fallen about almost 40% over the course of the past 1 year. So there's a very real and serious economic crisis coming. The Pakistanis are trying to live in denial, but they know it's coming because you're literally borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. Eventually, people stop throwing good money after bad, and you realize that the entire country becomes a Ponzi scheme. You keep offering to pay interest, but you can't pay it, so you take more loans to pay the interest of the previous loans, and eventually the house of cards begins to tumble. So if you just do the simple maths, by about September 2020, less than a year from now, it'll be game over for the Pakistani economy. They'll have $0 left in their forex reserves. If you've been watching this on YouTube, please leave your comments and share this video. Thanks for watching.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.